Hello, good afternoon. This is David Soto talking to you, and today is my weekly trade prediction for the upcoming trading week of June 24th through June 28th. Okay, and I'm going to go over all the major currency pairs here, and I'm going to give you my analysis, my prediction of what I think is going to happen. And in order to do that, we're going to look at the previous trading week, which is June 17th through June 21st. Okay, we're going to look at that previous week. And this kind of gauge, you can kind of give an idea of what this coming week is going to be doing based on that. Also, we're going to look at some higher time frames so that we can see exactly what the market is doing, what the overall trend is going. Okay, so to begin with, I want to point out one little thing here is that if you look at the major pairs like Euro USD, Pound USD, Australian dollar USD, and New Zealand dollar, we see that all of these have been steadily going up. Okay, now if we look at the USD pairs, US dollar, Swiss franc, US dollar, Japanese yen, US dollar, Canadian dollar, all these have been dropping. So what this means is whenever the US dollar is going up or down, doesn't matter, the other pairs like the Euro USD, Pound USD, these other pairs are going to have an inverse or opposite effect. Okay, so I just want to point that out real quick so you can kind of keep that in the back of your mind. So to begin with, we look at Euro USD. Okay, this is very simple. This has been steadily going up all week. Okay, and if we look at the higher time frames like the 4-hour and daily, the 4-hour is definitely been going up. The daily shows that it's going up, right? Which is pretty good. If we look at the weekly, it has an up arrow. And the monthly is a little bit different, but it has an up arrow also. So overall, I feel very, very strongly that this will continue to go up. If we look here on the, what is this, daily chart, I want to point out this to you real quick. We have a level of resistance right here. Okay, but now that level of resistance has been broken. And the next level of resistance would be right about here. Okay, and there's also one right here. Okay, I see also right here, kind of, but we're already there right now, and that has pretty much been broken. So I feel that this price will continue this week. It'll touch this level of resistance right here. Move this chart a little bit. Let's go. It'll touch this second level of resistance right here, and then come back down. Okay, and then eventually it's going to break back and go to this level. Okay, if we look at the weekly, we see the lines right here. So I feel like this is going to be going for a long, long uptrend. All right, we had this long, long downtrend, and now we have an uptrend forming. If we look here on the daily chart, we kind of see an uptrend forming. And I draw a line like this, right? This right here would be my uptrend that's forming. Now, it'll probably come back down and touch this at some point. Matter of fact, I feel pretty confident it will, but it might take another week or so. Alright, looking at the long-term chart, the 4-hour chart shows a down arrow right now. Okay, but the fact that it has broken this trend line or resistance line right here, I cannot fully trust this signal right now. Alright, now it might come down and touch this and then go back up further. That's kind of what I'm thinking, because on the daily chart there is no down arrow. Okay, so in the beginning of this week we have 1 hour and 4 hours shows a down arrow. So what I think is going to happen is in the beginning of this week we're going to see the price drop maybe 500 points, and then it's going to retrace and go back up. And how far that is, I don't know. Let's see. Let me get the crosshairs. If it drops 500 points, will be in here somewhere. Okay, now we look at a previous level of resistance that was broken, which is right here. So it will probably drop this far and go back up again, which means Monday and Tuesday you should see this price dropping, and then eventually it will go back up, because on the higher time frames like the daily and weekly, it's just now forming an uptrend. So do not expect this price to drop that much on the smaller time frames. If you look at the 1 hour here, like I said, the price will probably drop down to this level and shoot back up further. I do not expect this to go all the way down this trend line, but at some point it will. It probably will be like touch this line, go up further, come back down, touch this, go up, and then over here somewhere is where it will touch that trend line. Okay, and that's going to be like another week or two out. That's not going to be anytime soon where it touches this trend line, but we do have a trend line forming, and I do expect it to touch this trend line at some point. Okay, so recap for EURUSD, it's going to drop some in the beginning of the week, and then the rest of the week it's going to shoot up. Okay, now let's look at pound USD. Very similar fashion. Okay, this past week has been going up all week. If we look at the higher time frames, on the 4 hour we see an up arrow but no down arrow yet, but we do see this level of resistance right here that it has hit before. So if the moment it touches this, which is very close right now, the moment it touches this, I expect this to form a down arrow. Okay, now if you notice on the daily there is no down arrow here or here. I'm sure there is on a 1 hour, 4 hour chart, but considering the fact that we have an up arrow on the daily, this is going to continue going up for quite some time. Okay, if we look at the weekly, we kind of see the same thing. We have an up arrow. So I feel very strongly that this pound USD is, in the long term, is going to be going up, but in the short time it's showing that it's going to go down. So in the beginning of this week, just like EURUSD, in the beginning of this week it's going to drop maybe 500 points, I don't know, and then it's going to shoot back up again. Okay, so wait till about Tuesday, Wednesday time frame and get ready to place a buy trade. I personally would not sell right now. If I do, I would use a buy limit pending order, and we can look at how far this will drop. We just simply have to look at a previous level of resistance that has been broken, which right here looks like a good level, and there's another level right here as well. So you can expect this to drop here, maybe go up a little further, bounce up, and drop down again. I don't know. Let me look at my crosshairs, and this is about, well, that's about a 1,500 point drop. So I would not expect a big drop. And if we draw a trend line, look at this. I kind of see an uptrend forming here. Okay, look at that. Okay, so our job as traders is to spot these trend lines. So I would predict, I would guess that this is going to drop, touch this trend line, and bounce off. And you see that this level of resistance matches up perfect with this trend line. Okay, almost like X marks the spot. So we can expect this to hit this trend line and bounce up even further. If you look at the 4 hour chart, you still see this trend line matching up perfect, right? So you may or may not get a red arrow. I'm thinking you probably will, and then this will drop and go up even further. But you may not get a red arrow, and this will drop, definitely drop some, and then shoot up even further. Now, how far will this go up? Very good question. We see here, I want to look at another level of support that is now resistance. Okay, and I see this level here, and I also see this level here. Okay, so we can predict that this price will drop the first day or two of the week, and then it'll shoot up even further. Okay, Once it breaks this trend line here, this resistance line rather, then we know it's going to go up to the next level, which is up here. And you can catch from here to here at least 600 pips, right? 600 points that it is predicting. And I would probably either place a buy limit pin order here or place a buy stop up here. Okay, either way, I would be looking to place buy trades only. I would not be looking to sell, because chances are if you place a sell trade right now, it will shoot up. It's just how the Murphy's Law or your bad luck might go. Okay, so don't take any chances. Look at the bigger trend, look at the overall trend, and then say, okay, this in the long term is definitely going to be going up. So even if it's going to be going down right now, I'm going to wait until I have the perfect opportunity to buy, and then place a buy trade. Okay, now moving on to AUDUSD, it's the same scenario, right? We have this long uptrend for the past week. So the question is it going to keep going up? Well, we know everything that goes up must come down at some point, right? So if we look at the 4 hour, I like to look at the 4 hour daily, kind of get an idea what's going to be going on this next week. If we look at the 4 hour, we have an up arrow, right? No down arrow. But it kind of stalled out here. And let me shift the chart over a little so you can see. But it's kind of stalled out. If we look at the 1 hour, it shows a down arrow, right? So it shot down already and came back up, hit this same level of resistance. So I could draw a line right here and mark that. That's a pretty strong level of resistance, right? So we can predict that this is going to be going down the first part of the week. But if we look at the daily and the weekly, we have up arrows, right? Even the monthly. Okay, so long term, this is definitely going to be going up. I know the past couple weeks has been kind of a pain in the butt because it dropped a lot more than we thought it would. But now is definitely the time to buy. Okay. But on the smaller time frames, like I said, the smaller time frames right now is showing sell. So in the first part of this week, we can expect this to drop some, maybe a few hundred points, 500 points, and then shoot up again. If we look here on the 1 hour chart, you can see an uptrend forming, right? I'm sure you already see this. And that's a pretty much perfect trend line. We have this point, this point, this point. We have 3 points already touching this trend line. So this will probably drop, touch this again. But do not buy until, I personally would not buy until this trend, this resistance, red resistance line has been broken. As a matter of fact, you probably could put a buy limit pin and order near this tick mark, which is 0.69475. You could put a buy stop pin and order up above here, okay, and just wait. It might take another day or two for this to finally break and go up, but once this breaks, that is the time to buy, and it'll probably go as high as one of these levels of resistance that hit previously, okay, where these red arrows are. Okay, and this is only looking at a 1 hour chart. If you look at the 4 hour chart, you see this level of resistance up here. And I cannot say for certain, but I feel like this coming week is probably going to shoot up towards, if not hit this level of resistance. So probably by the end of the week, you're going to be looking for this to go up. And so once this level of resistance is broken, I would buy and hold. Okay, and you could catch. Let's look at how many pips you can catch. Let's say right about here up to here. So you're looking at about 700 pips. So that's pretty good for 1 week. Alright, so now moving on to New Zealand dollar, US dollar, you're going to see the same exact scenario, right, play out. We had this long uptrend for this past week. Alright, and if we look at the 1 hour, it shows down, the 4 hour shows up, daily shows up, weekly shows up, and the monthly shows up. Okay, It's the same scenario, okay? So all we have to do, let me shift the chart a bit, mark this level of resistance right here, okay? And once this level of resistance is broken, then buy. That easy, okay? If you look here on the 1 hour or even 4 hour, we see a uptrend forming, right? So identical, pretty much identical to the AUDUSD that we just saw previously. Okay, so this will probably drop some, and then I feel that it's going to break this resistance. If it does not, if it breaks this trend line and goes down, then you can sell. But based on what's going on in the market, I feel pretty strongly that this is definitely going to be going up. So I would wait for this resistance here to be broken, and then you can buy. All right, at least 50 to 100 points, and then jump in on the trade. Okay, and then ride it up, 500-600 points, and you're done for the week. Very, very easy. All right, now moving on to the USD pairs. USDCHF has been doing the opposite. It's been dropping all week, right? And if I shift the chart over and we go to like a 1 hour or 4 hour, look at the 4 hour. 1 hour showing up, 4 hours showing up, daily showing up, but the weekly is showing down, and the monthly showing down. So long term, this is going to be dropping. Okay, I can pretty much guarantee it. Now the US dollar is a fighter. Okay, so do not expect huge drops in this pair. Alright, now one thing I like to point out, kind of, sort of, is we had this uptrend that has been broken, right? And this is not really that important, but the price had dropped to here, and, well, actually, if I think it was more like this right here. So we had an uptrend right here, right? Okay, and but the price broke. So this right here was a support, even though it's a trend line. This is a support that this price, the price was bouncing off of. But we notice here that it broke. So anytime a support is broken, it now becomes a resistance. And we saw this drop and come back up and touch this trend line and bounce off of it. So this is now a level of resistance. Now you can argue slightly that it did break again, but then shot back down. So this is definitely a level of resistance. Now right now it's showing up arrow. I strongly do not think it's going to go back up and touch this trend line again. Okay, what I think is going to happen, if we look at another level of support that's been broken, which is right in here, okay, I think, and like I said, I cannot say for certain, but I think that the price will come up, touch this, and come back down. Okay, that is what we're looking for. All right, the overall trend, the bigger trend, is bearish, meaning that price is going to drop. That is what we got to keep in the back of our mind. Okay, so do not try to buy right now. I would wait. Okay, wait for the perfect opportunity to sell. So if you look in the 4 hour or even the 1 hour, and we say, okay, this is going to be going up in the beginning of this week. In the short term, it's going to be going up, which is fine. But we want to wait until we get a buy signal. So you can expect probably around Wednesday, late Tuesday, early Wednesday, it should form a sell signal. Either it touches this resistance level here, or it breaks and goes up further and touches this trend line. I cannot say for certain. Also, we can look at some other levels of support like this right here, and you know, right in here. These are all possibilities that the price, let me double click, price that touched here and here, okay, and there's a resistance here. So these are different levels right here that it could jump up to. So I feel very strongly that in the beginning of this week it's going to shoot up, touch one of these levels of resistance, and come back down. Okay, so wait for a sell signal, and even if you get a sell signal, I would still wait a few candles, you know, a few hours before just jumping into a trade, because you can sell long term. Once you enter that sell trade, you can hold it maybe a week, okay, because this is going to be going down long term. So if we look on this weekly chart, there is no up arrow here, right? So if the price goes up now and comes down, it's going to be going down for a long time. Okay, so we already see here on the weekly that it came down, up, came down, you know, came down, went back up, came down again. So it's going to continue that pattern. You're not going to see any arrows like you see here in the past. We had a lot of ups and downs, but no arrows, right? But the overall long-term trend is definitely going to be bearish. Okay, and we can expect this to drop at least to where this level of support is before. Okay, so it might take a few weeks for this to drop. So definitely get ready to sell this week with USDCHF. Now moving on to USDJPY. I see here the Japanese yen has been gaining, so which is allowing the US dollar to drop. And of course the US dollar has been dropping anyways. And let me shift the chart here. This typically the USDJPY will kind of have an opposite effect of what USDCHF has, but the fact that the US dollar has been very weak, you know, doesn't appear that it's going to be gaining too much more this week. So USDJPY right now, okay, if you see in a daily and the weekly, it shows up, right? But the monthly shows down. So this is not going to be dropping like USDCHF will. Okay, I would more or less be looking to buy this pair. All right. The 4-hour and daily show a strong buy right now. So what we need to look at is a previous downtrend and wait for that downtrend to be broken, and then we can buy. We know once that downtrend is broken, we know 100% certain that we need to buy. Okay, so how we do this, and I've showed this a million times, but we look for a downtrend. Okay, and this is about as good as it's going to get right here. Okay, if we look at this right here, we see there's all these points here that match up. So it's been going, even though you had a lot of ups and downs, the overall trend is bearish, meaning it's going down, and it's been doing this, you know, for the past month or so. But at some point, it's going to break this trend, and it's going to form a new uptrend. Okay, you look here on the daily chart, you see a perfect downtrend, right? And we can even draw a horizontal line right here at this point, and we can mark this as our level of support. And we have what's called a falling wedge. Okay, I'll try to draw that, but we have what's called a wedge pattern. Okay, so I want you to know this so that you can see this in the future and the other currency pairs. When you have this wedge pattern like this, the price is going to come up, probably touch this trend line again and come back down, but your candles are going to get trapped inside of here, and they're going to move in like a horizontal fashion, just like they were here. You had them come down, up, move horizontal, down, move horizontal, down, move horizontal, but this time it's going to break out of this trend line, and it's going to form a long uptrend. Okay, based on what we're seeing right now, you could technically buy right now and just wait a few weeks if you want. But to be 100% certain that this is really an uptrend, wait for this price, these candles, to shoot, you know, a few hundred points or so outside of this trend line. That way you know for a fact that this is going to be an uptrend. If you buy right now, there's a possibility this could shoot down even further. So, you know, I feel pretty strongly this is going to go up this week. And it's probably going to touch this trend line around the middle of the week and come back down again. And you're going to see more of a range of market than you're going to see any new trends develop this week. Okay, that's one thing important to note, is that mainly a range of market, just like we saw previously here in this area. You're going to see a slight uptrend, but it's going to be more of a range of market. Okay, so that's what we can predict for this coming week. Now, for USDCAD, USD Canadian dollar, we see kind of like USDCHF, where this has been dropping all this past week, and then towards the end of the week, it formed this flat horizontal motion here. Okay, so now looking at the higher time frames, like the 4-hour, we see an uptrend forming, right? So we had this long, sharp downtrend, but now it's starting to fight back. It's slowly going back up. And if we look at the daily, we see a downtrend. Still, we still have a down arrow, alright, showing a sell. Weekly showing a sell, and the monthly is showing a sell as well. So, overall trend is going to be bearish. And what we need to look at, let me shift the chart, we need to look at the larger downtrend, okay? And if we look here on the daily, I'm sure you can see this already, but I want to point this out, that this is your new downtrend. Okay, you have this point and this point, only 2 points currently. So we're looking for number 3 point to touch, and then you have a 100% confirmation of the downtrend. So on the 1 hour and 4 hour, we are showing buy. So in the first half of this week, I can almost guarantee you that this is going to go up and touch this trend line and come down. So you kind of have two scenarios here, two options with this pair. You can buy right now and just hold it for a day or two and catch a few hundred pips on the way up. If you look right here, that's 1,500 points right there. So you probably could get 1,000 pips just on the way up. Okay, and then once it touches, you know, once it forms a red arrow, close the trade and then get ready to sell. Now I would wait and see what happens when it touches this trend line. If it breaks, obviously do not sell. Okay, you want to buy again, but more than likely it's going to touch this trend line and bounce off. Okay, I believe this without a shadow of a doubt, but I'm not a fortune teller, so I don't want you to hold it to me. But based on historical evidence and what we know about trend lines, I feel very, very confident that this is going to touch this trend line and come down. So in the first half of the week, you can buy, and then the latter half of the week, be looking to sell. Okay, so that is my overall prediction for USD-CAD. You know, look at the beginning of the week to buy, and then end of the week sell. Okay, so overall, you know, US dollar is going to be going down, and the other pairs should be going up, like Euro USD, Pound USD, things like this. So if you have any questions about my analysis, or you want to ask me about other currency pairs and, you know, get an individual analysis, I don't have time to go over all these pairs right now, but if you want to go over like GBPUSD or something like that, I don't care. Just send me a message and say, hey, what is your idea for this? But also, I want to know your analysis on what you think the market is going to do. So if you come to me asking me about a particular currency pair, that's fine. But also, I want to hear what your analysis is first. So then we can compare. All right? Maybe you have some ideas that you want to share with me or point out that I never saw. I don't know. So anyhow, that said, just contact me. There is a link below in the description of this video for my personal Facebook account, and also there is a link below for my private Facebook group. If you have not joined my Facebook group, please do so. That way you can post any questions or comments in my Facebook group. Okay, so with that said, I hope you have a wonderful trading week, and just let me know if any questions. Okay, thank you.